Hello students and welcome to your science class. In today's class we will be discussing about the interconversion of three states of matter. We all know that matter has three states: solid, liquid and gas. So these states can be changed. Solid can be converted into liquid. It has a different process. Liquid can further be converted into gases and gases can be converted into solids. So in today's class we will be discussing about the interconversion of these states. So if we will look here that there are three states: solid, liquid and gases, and the conversion of solid into liquid is called as fusion or melting. For example, the conversion of ice into water is called as melting or fusion. Both are same thing. Similarly, the conversion of liquid into gases, is called as vaporization. When you boil something, after some time it starts converted into vapor. So that process is called as vaporization. The conversion of gas into liquid is condensation. Conversion of solid directly to gases. Yes, solid can be directly converted into gases. That we will study, and that process is called sublimation. And the conversion of liquid again into the solid is called as solidification. So it means that though these particles inside these matter, they have different properties. Solids have very rigid structure, they have strong force of attraction, but still we can change them. Okay, so now the question arises that how we can change this, what is causing that change, how we can brought about these changes, how this change of state takes place, and what happens inside the particles when these changes are occurring. I mean, when the solid is in solid state, it has a different property. Okay, so when it converts into the liquid, it changes. So is there any change which is also occurring inside it, particles, or not? Let us try to see it. So first of all, we will take first change, that is the conversion of solid into liquid. So we will understand the conversion of solid into liquid. In solid, let's take the example of ice. Okay, so now you all must have seen ice. When it is in the fridge, it is in a solid shape. Okay, when the ice is there in the fridge, it is in a solid state. As soon as you bring it out, it converts into liquid. It starts melting. Okay, so that process of conversion of solid into liquid is called as melting. Okay, and when you brings out the ice from the refrigerator, so why do you think that change is occurring? What is the difference between the temperature inside the refrigerator or outside? Obviously there is an increase in temperature outside. Yes, so when the ice is there inside the refrigerator, it has a different temperature, and when it is out, it has a different structure. So what happens is that, suppose when ice is there inside the fridge, when ice is there inside the fridge, it has a different temperature, it has a different structure. When it is out, when it is out, it has got a rise in the temperature. Okay, it has required a lot of temperature. So due to that temperature, the particles which are there inside the ice, suppose this is the ice, it has this structure. So when it is in the fridge, it was quite compact, it was closely packed. When we took it out or when we give heat to it, the particles which are there inside, they acquire some energy, they gained some energy. So that energy is called as kinetic energy. So when you heat any matter, so it gains some energy. The heat means the gaining of their energy. And what do you do when you gain energy? For example, when you eat food, you get energy. What do you do after that? You start moving. Similarly, after getting the kinetic energy, the heat, when the ice comes out of the fridge, it gets some heat from the atmosphere. The rise in the temperature also, if you will heat it, if you will give it some heat, so it will acquire the kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy will push the particles inside it to move. And since the solid particle is very closely packed, it will not move, but it will start vibrating. So the solid particles will start vibrating, and due to that vibration, when they will start vibrating, okay, so they will start moving from one place to another, and there is this force which is binding them together. When they will start moving very rapidly, so this force will weaken. This force will start weakening, this force will start breaking, and the solid will no longer be able to attain its shape. Are you getting it? When they will get the kinetic energy, they will start vibrating, and due to this vibration, for example, this is the ice. When it will start vibrating, it will break the force between them. It will break the attraction between them, and slowly they will move away from each other. And when they will move away from each other, the solid will no longer will be able to attain its shape, and the shape will collapse. And when the shape collapses, it means it will convert into liquid, because it is no longer to attain its shape. Okay, so now to attain that energy also, okay, so to attain that energy so as to vibrate, they need some particular temperature. Okay, because inside the fridge the ice was not melting. Okay, it need to get certain temperature at which it starts melting. Okay, at which it starts gaining kinetic energy or vibrating, anything you can say. So the minimum temperature at which a solid melts to convert into liquid is called as melting point. So the minimum temperature at which any ice melts or any solid melts to become a liquid is called as melting point at atmospheric pressure. It means at normal pressure. So atmospheric pressure means the pressure which is exerted by the atmosphere. We all know that we are living on the earth, and here suppose this is the earth and this is the atmosphere. So in the atmosphere there are so many gases. Okay, and these gases are continuously moving. So they are also exerting some pressure or us. So we exert some pressure. So everything which is there in the atmosphere, it will experience this pressure. So that is what we mean by the atmospheric pressure. And if you go out of the atmosphere, there is no air. There is no air. So there will be no force. There will be no pressure. So as soon as you go up, you will experience less pressure. When you will go down the earth, you will experience more pressure. Okay, so that is the atmospheric pressure. So the pressure which is exerted by the atmosphere is called as atmospheric pressure. Now, this is the melting point. Now to understand the very another important point, let us try to do and understand one simple experiment that I have done, and I will share the results with you. So suppose this was the setup that I did, and this is the iron rod, beaker, thermometer. Thermometer, you all know that it is used to measure the temperature. When you are sick, you go to the hospital, the doctor uses it to check the temperature inside your body, and he says that okay, you have 100 degrees Celsius fever. So degrees Celsius is the unit of measuring temperature. Degrees Celsius or Kelvin, they both are the unit of measuring the temperature. Like you measure the weight in kgs and water in the liter. Similarly, temperature is also measured in degrees Celsius and Kelvin. And this can also be interchanged. For example, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So meter can be converted into centimeter, centimeter into meter. Similarly, you can convert Celsius into Kelvin and Kelvin into Celsius. So this is the equation. Kelvin is equal to degree Celsius plus 273. So this was the setup which I did. This is the iron rod and this is the beaker. In the beaker, I took few ice cubes and I started giving them heat. So by this burner, I am providing them the heat. So what I noticed was that as soon as the heat increases, the thermometer will show a rise in the temperature. As soon as the burner will start heating the ice, it will also start melting slowly and slowly, and the thermometer will also show a rise. But to my surprise, student, the thermometer stays at 0 degree Celsius. Sorry, 0 degree Celsius. So after certain time, the thermometer shows 0 degree Celsius rise in the temperature, and after that it stops. It doesn't increase any bit. Okay, even if although I was giving it continuous supply of heat, but it did not increase. The temperature did not increase, and it remained 0 degree Celsius till all the ice was melted. I mean, I was providing the heat, and it shows rise in the temperature, and it stays and it stops after rising to 0 degree Celsius. Children, 0 degree Celsius doesn't mean 0. It doesn't mean 0. It means 273 Kelvin. It has some temperature. It's just that 273 Kelvin, if you will convert it will be 0 degree Celsius. So 0 degree Celsius and 273 Kelvin, they both are same. So don't consider it as 0. It is not 0. So it is 273 Kelvin. So after achieving 0 degree Celsius temperature, the thermometer stops and it stays at 0 degree Celsius till all the ice was melted, and the ice was melted. So now the question comes here is that since I was giving them continuous heat, where does that heat goes? I mean, where does that heat goes which I was providing it continuously, because there was no rise in the thermometer, it means that heat was not increasing. But where is that heat was going? Well children, if you will notice that I told you that suppose these are the particles, okay. Suppose these are the ice solid particles, okay. When you give them the heat, when I gave them the heat, okay, they starts vibrating because they acquired some kinetic energy. When they starts vibrating, the force which is between these particles, suppose this is the force, and it starts weakening, okay. The force starts weakening. So to weaken this force, I mean these are the particles and they have this force of attraction between them. And to weaken this force, to break this force, they need some energy. They need some heat. Okay. So that heat which is hidden, which is not showing in the thermometer, is actually used up by these particles to weaken the force of attraction between them. So that heat which is taken in by any matter to convert into another matter, that is called as latent heat of fusion. I mean that the ice is taking some hidden heat to break the force between them, and that heat is known as latent heat of melting, or it is known as the latent heat of fusion. So what is latent heat of fusion? Latent heat of fusion is the hidden heat which is acquired by any substance to change any state. For example, the actual definition will be, it is the quantity of heat in joules. Joules is the unit of heat. It is the quantity of heat in joules required to convert 1 kg of solid to liquid without any change in the temperature. So here if you will notice that there was no change in the temperature, but the ice was melting, but there was no change. So where was this heat going which I was providing by the burner? That was utilized to break the force between the ice particles. These particles were vibrating with the heat, and to vibrate they acquired the energy by getting the heat. Now after that heat they start vibrating and they break the force of attraction between them. So that heat which was hidden was latent heat. Latent means hidden. Latent means hidden. So latent heat of fusion is the quantity of heat in joules which is required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid without its change in the temperature, and the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius. I mean the minimum temperature at which any solid will melt, any ice will melt, is 0 degree Celsius. So this is the melting point of ice, specifically ice. Different solids, they have different melting point. I mean alcohol has different that is boiling point, that we will discuss later. So I hope melting, what is melting point and latent heat of melting is clear to you. In the next class we will take this class forward and you are going to enjoy it.